After the Depression in the 1870s, also known as the Long Depression, production in the industrial world began to thrive in the United States. Chicago was a major city known for its industrial activity. Since Chicago had such a large workforce, there are many groups and unions beginning to form to demand better working conditions. In 1876, a man named Terence Powderly, who was a railroad machinist, became the leader of a well-known union called the Knights of Labor, which by 1886 reached up to around 700,000 members. On May 1st, 1886, a day known as May Day, labor activists gather with a common demand for an 8-hour workday. On this day were organized parades, strikes, and speeches taking place all around the country, with about 350,000 American citizens participating in hopes of having their demands met. Going back to the year of 1831, a blacksmith in Virginia named Cyrus McCormick advanced the first viable mechanical reaper to harvest grain. Due to the success of this new reaper, McCormick started a factory in Chicago. In the spring of 1886, around 1,400 of those factory workers struck at the McCormick Reaper factory, locking themselves out from their jobs. This greatly angered the protesters, resulting in 2 more days of strike outside of the factory gates. Replacement workers were blocked by the protests from going to work, which caused a problem with the factory, and especially with McCormick. Soon the Chicago police showed up to break up the rally and killed at least 4 strikers in the process. Anarchist leaders responded quickly by printing flyers in English and in German, inviting workers to be prepared for a mass meeting. The flyer read, "Good speakers will be present to denounce the latest atrocious act of the police, the shooting of our fellow workmen yesterday afternoon." On the following day, on May 4th, the meeting took place in Haymarket Square to address police brutality leading up to the Haymarket Riot. Around 1,500 people participated in this meeting and was called with no intent of violence. Then, when the police showed up, people started to get angry. As police began to reach closer to the crowd, a labor activist, still unknown to this day, threw a handmade dynamite bomb, killing 7 policemen. As the area went up in smokes, the police opened fire, harming more people with their bullets than the bomb itself. Not only did policemen die, but 4 civilians were killed and more than 100 protesters got injured. This riot was blamed entirely on the anarchists and the labor organizations such as the Knights of Labor. 8 men were convicted, and it is said that some of those convicted were not even participating in the bombing. They were sentenced due to their involvement in leading the unions. August Spies, one of the 8 convicted men, states this in his autobiography, quote, "Anarchism does not mean bloodshed, does not mean robbery, arson, etc. These monstrosities are, on the contrary, the characteristic features of capitalism. Anarchism means peace and happiness to all. Anarchism, or socialism, means the reorganization of society upon scientific principles and the abolition of causes which produce vice and crime. Capitalism first produces these social diseases and then seeks to cure them by punishment. And if you think you can crush out these ideas that are gaining ground more and more each day, if you think you can crush them out by sending us to the gallows, if you would once more have people suffer the penalty of death because they have dared to tell the truth, and I defy you to show us where we have told a lie. I say, if death is the penalty for proclaiming the truth, then I will proudly and defiantly pay the costly price. Call your hangman," end quote. Spy says this in a speech he delivered before Judge Gary during his trial. Eventually, he was hanged along with 6 other men on November 11, 1887. The 8th convicted man committed suicide. These men were international symbols of the struggle between the capital and labor. The Haymarket Riot of 1886 had its origins in labor unrest and in wanting of changes made in the length of the workdays and in working conditions. Not only did they want improvements made, but they also wanted the whole capitalist enterprise to be demolished. After the Haymarket Riot, there was a gradual repression of the labor movement that came about. People started to lose trust in the workers' associations and in the campaign. Many German immigrants were looked at with suspicion. Businessmen showed a lot of support for the police. The American labor movement generally received a setback due to the riot, which also weakened the struggle for the 8-hour day demand. This Haymarket Riot became an international symbol of struggle for workers' rights. Although it may seem like this riot had only a negative effect, in the long run it helped to develop a stronger union such as the American Federation of Labor. This union eventually achieved the 8-hour workday demand. The executed men, known as the Martyrs of Chicago, inspired many labor leaders all across the globe and gave us the International Labor Day observed on May 1st. Although there could be improvements made to present-day labor laws, the Haymarket Riot, all in all, became an enduring symbol of the long-term success of the labor movement.